Yeah, and when it first was premiering and then touring, several different places I came along, and we had a slightly bigger group. We had MR and Reno showed up a couple times, and even Eddie showed up once. Didn't he, Shaun? I think it was in Santa Barbara.
He was here in Huntington.
Yeah. But it's, I mean, my first question, and I'll take questions from the audience too for you, but my first question is, now that, you know, let's say a decade and a half have gone by, and you're seeing it from a whole different perspective. The world's changed, surfing has changed, the tour has certainly changed, professional surfing has changed, the whole industry, everything's changed a lot. I mean, the story of its inception, its genesis, is still incredibly riveting. But what's your perspective, each of you, on where the world has gone since then in the world of professional surfing? I'd love to hear it.
Testing. Working?
Yeah.
Well, I think the most important thing is that, at least for me personally, is our dream came true. I remember even just prior to '74, we had all started going to Hawaii, and Pink Floyd's album had come out, Dark Side of the Moon, Money. And my friends and I, when we were living in Rainbow Bay, we'd walk around going, $1 million, we're going to make $1 million, I know it. And that was really inspired by Dark Side of the Moon. So for me, the most important thing is our dream came true.
We lived a fabulous life, and our dreams. You said the world has changed so much, and yes, the WSL is doing all these things, but all over the world, there are young kids that are dreaming the exact same dream that we had. Absolutely. And that's what's so, for me, to see all of these young kids, and I see these faces in this contest today. We were over here in Rabbit, commentating on the contest that's going on at Snapper as we're driving down here. So technology has changed, but the dream, the simple essence of surfing. I mean, I had a few really fun waves this morning in Laguna. So surfing is just magical still. And then the dream for all of these young kids all over the world, and it's just spreading farther and farther away, and to all these unknown places where just young kids are just waking up one day and just going, wow, could I do that? And we can say for certain, yes you can.
Yeah, you proved that.
I mean, a lot has changed. Obviously, now you can see clips on Instagram or Twitter or whatever it is, and it can happen really quick. But what I love about this story, and it didn't make the film, but Ian says something to this extent that he grew up reading these great adventures from Hemingway and having these great about these stories of people having these great adventures, climbing mountains and doing whatnot, and these men were able to live these lives of just tremendous adventure. I mean, coming from Australia to the North Shore in the 70s, I mean, night and day, strange, weird, and they lived these adventures that you see in storybooks and history books of what happened. And I don't know if you can do that today, because everything is so accessible and social media, and people can do that. So that's what's changed for me.
Yeah, I've got to say it's really awesome to see everyone here. The surf movie, like getting a crew of surfers together and having everyone watch, it just doesn't happen anymore. And Nat Young, he was one of my heroes, and they said that we're a tribe. Surfers are a tribe, and in many ways we are. We have our own customs and we have our own rights and rituals, and getting together to watch a surf meeting, and that was one of the greatest things. And it just doesn't really happen anymore. And that's why seeing everyone tonight, when there's about 150 people here, it's just a wonderful feeling. And you know, the world is so divided and turbulent and troubled. And I go around and I speak at schools and universities and some of the biggest companies in the world, and I use surfing, the metaphor, to bring people together and to share that stoke. And okay, 90% of the people I speak to, they're not surfers, but surfing just can really bring people together in a wonderful way. And I think the world that we started in was completely separate. Like Australia was a long way away from the United States, and South Africa was a long way away from Hawaii, but surfing brought us together physically. And I think metaphorically surfing can really bring us together. And I think maybe we lost it, but maybe it's time with surfing films to just get people together, because I think it can fundamentally make a difference in this divided and turbulent world. I don't know if I answered the question, but that's what I feel.
That's an answer. I mean, yeah, we all grew up watching Free Ride, you know, and you were making Free Ride. But yeah, all of us, I think most of the serious surfers who are above the age of 40 or 50 sat in rooms watching surf movies, you know, and we'd all gather and hoot and holler and the next day try to replicate whatever we had just seen on the screen, because we didn't usually have the same kind of waves we were looking at. The other thing that I was thinking about was, what do you have an opinion on the state of the tour today? You guys started it. You opened Pandora's box. What's your opinion on it?
I think it's unreal. I'm a huge fan. I watch religiously every WCT World Championship Tour event. I sit there and I score. I dispute some decisions, but in that's never going to change. That's subjective judging. The judging today, in my opinion, is better than it ever has been. These guys will tell you there were times where you'd go to see the judging sheets and you'd see where someone had rubbed out a number and changed it so that the result went a different way. Well, they can't do that anymore, because now they have to put a number in a computer, and they can also go and review what happened before against what might happen towards the end of the heat. So in my mind, the tour is a huge success. I mean, my God, these guys are making money. It's just crazy, both the guys and the girls. I mean, you can lose every heat and still make 100 grand. Right, boys? Yeah. What we were doing to make 100 grand.
Well, you see, a lot of the basis of this movie is about young surfers unable to get in contests. That situation exists today, where the elite club of the CT, and if you happen to be a young surfer and you realise you dream of making the tour, in Western Australia, my hometown, half of the men and women got cut from the tour without an opportunity to surf the rest of these waves. Jacob Wilcox from Western Australia, off the tour after 10 years of trying to qualify. It's total fucking bullshit. And it was tried in
Still tells it like it is.
2011, it was tried and it failed. And the cocksuckers that run that show put it back in place and won't listen to us as surfers to cut the cut. So I do know that if you were on the tour, it would be kind of magical. And of course, we wouldn't have been cut because we were too good. But when I talk about young kids with dreams and aspirations, if they get cut from their chance on the tour, Jacob Wilcox misses out on Chopu, he misses out on Cloudbreak. If you saw the waves he surfs in Western Australia, he would own those events, and he's relegated to the bullshit season. So So my opinion, because I started the ASP because of all of these things that went wrong for us. I wrote the first rule book, we fixed that, the judging panel, we made an international judging panel, we put computer scoring in place, all of these things, and WSL comes along and they put people in charge of this thing. We're on the 4th CEO, none of those fuckers surf. They don't know anything about what we think, and I say, fuck the WSL.
Wait, does anybody have that on video? Because I want it. I got it right here. Okay, good.
You're beautiful, Dwyer.
Why did surfing happen? Because you've got a different opinion, and rabbit, but we all coalesced, and with all of our different opinions, that was the matrix that made it happen.
I liked Ian's opinion. So this is what I think about pro surf. So Rabbit ran the ASP for a number of years, and he instituted a fundamental rule change and a rule and a philosophy: the best surfers and the best waves. Best 2-wave scoring, as opposed to in our day, best 4 waves. So today, which is fundamentally different from our day, the best surfing in the world happens in heats. You didn't see it before, but today, the best surfing happens in heats. In our days, the best surfing in the world was happening in Free Ride or 5 Summer Stories or all the different surf meetings. You had to go to a surf meeting to see the best surfers and the best waves. Today, what the WSL has given us, the hottest surfing on the planet, John Florence and Jack Robinson in heat. So the WSL is not all bad. They have made some really incredible decisions. Yes, we don't agree with the mid-year cut. But that doesn't mean we have to throw the baby out of the window at 50 miles an hour. So there are some great things. I mean, a lot of us do not like the fact that it doesn't end with the Papa Masters. And you have an ending, I mean, with all due respect to Trestles, it's a good wave, but it's not a wave of ultimate consequence. And we liked it when it started at the beginning of the year and ended in December in Hawaii at the Papa Masters. So we're hoping with a bit of diplomacy, and he's the head diplomat here, that we could perhaps get the WSL with a new CEO to change that, to maybe take away the mid-year cut, maybe, and maybe finish on a good calendar year. But we're not going to go bashing over the heads with Ian's baseball bat and we'll back from a while.
All right, that's good. Let's change the subject. One sec. Hey, is that Merck I'm looking at over there?
I got a question.
Hang on one sec. I just wanted to add, I'll come to you first.
Is Dan Merkel?
Yeah, that's Merck. Dan, come on up here.
Oh, is Dan Merkel?
Yeah, you.
No, that's
How
not.
much money did you spend on board back fees in your career? Flying all over the world, you had to pay for your board back.
I got a good answer.
Foot on the
How
scale.
much money do you think you spent on your career on board back fees? And you guys know about surfing board back fees.
Well, I have a good answer to that, partially, in that, remember in the movie it took about the Bronze Stars, that was just a scam. So we had a letter from Pan Am that said we were good guys. So in that era we didn't pay shit for it. But later on, of course, today it's a whole different story. You take your boards anywhere, it's not worth taking them. You may as well rent them because with board technology now, the board you ride here today, you can pretty much get rented at any place you can go in the world unless you're on a boat in Indonesia. But yeah, I mean, you see it on the online stuff now. I mean, it's crazy what the guys have to pay to go to some places on some airlines. There's a couple of airlines that are cool, but in general, anyone want to add to that?
I wanted to ask you guys, because they're not here, how are MR and Books doing? update us on what you know about MR bugs.
So talking about surf meetings, a few months ago, we showed free ride again in Australia. And, rather than MR and now we did the showings, we showed in 4 different locations. And, we thought like, we get like maybe 50, 100 people turn up, but we had thousands of people turn up. It was such a, wonderful, it was a really cool experience. Rabbit is, Rabbit's stoked and MR is stoked, and they both, it was just wonderful to get reconnected with those guys. But one quick thing I want to say. So these boards up there, you might wonder why these boards are up here. Carla and my wife is here, my gorgeous wife. We've been married 38 years. We're creating a new foundation. A lot of you know the story that we lost our beautiful boy when he was 15 and a half to a bad choice. So we're creating a new foundation called the Think Twice Foundation. And we're going to be auctioning off a series of different boards over the next couple of months to fund the foundation. And Craig Hollingsworth, stand up, Craig. So Craig made these amazing in South Africa, and thank you, Craig. And that's why they were up there. I forgot to tell you.
Great.
And not from me.
All right, questions? Anybody out there? Yes. Here.
This question's for Ian and for Shaun. Because PT, I know your answer already. What would be your expected career had you not become a professional surfer?
That's a good question. I would have been professional, but maybe an attorney.